Welcome to the Porn Reboot podcast, where you get practical tips to gaining control over your porn or sex addiction. We help ambitious men end their out-of-control sexual behavior with pornography, sex, and masturbation so that you can maximize your life, perform at your potential, and remain in control in the driver's seat, which is where you have to be in order to gain or maintain the success you want in life. I'm your host, J.K. Amazi, certified sex and porn addiction recovery coach. Welcome to the episode. Brothers, anyone can talk the talk, but not everyone can walk the walk. And that's why here at Porn Reboot, where we do walk the walk, I'll be sharing every few episodes some snippets of success stories and testimonials from brothers who are in our implementation intensive and in our free groups. And they're going to be sharing some of the results they've been getting so that this can further inspire you to take action on all the different tips and techniques that you learn while listening to the Porn Reboot podcast. Enjoy.
What is going on, Reboot team? Chris here with yet another testimonial from someone who is coming to us from our exclusive Reboot intensive program. This guy's got a really interesting story. He's certainly not a rookie and has plenty of life experience to share, and we're going to hear a little bit about that today, man. I'm here with William. How are you doing today?
Hey, Chris, man, doing well. How's it going?
I'm all right, man. Living life. Appreciate you making time just to share a little bit about your Reboot journey up until this point. Really, before we dive into anything specific and super nuanced, I want to start from the very beginning. How did you first discover the program?
I first discovered the program, I want to say during 2020 or 2021. It was right around the start when I realized that I had a problem with pornography and masturbation. Really just kind of early steps. I was just Googling stuff online and came across JK's podcast and listened to it for a while. And I was in college, so I was roughly 2021. And I listened to it for a couple of years. And actually I reached out and I got on a call with the Reboot strategist and initially saw the price. And I was like, but no, I'm okay, thanks. Came back to it and then tried like other courses, other stuff, workarounds that were just frankly a little bit cheaper, kind of cost effective, if you will. And a lot of them just still weren't answering my questions like, oh, you should try this or go into this. And I was like, there's something missing here. So I remember I got on a call, I guess I was 21. I followed up 4 years later, the same Reboot strategist. He'd always check in with me and I was like, yeah, let's do it, man. Let's hop on a call. So that was in February of last year, February 2025, when I joined the implementation program. Saw a lot of great results going into it. And then I decided to make the jump over to the intensive program because I wanted a higher level of accountability, if you will, so to speak. And it's been great so far.
So much history in about 90 seconds. I want to dive into all of it. But first thing, as someone who joined the implementation program myself back in 2020, lots that I can relate to. Kind of like, is this the right move for me? And I haven't looked back since. And I'm curious about what was your experience like comparatively in these other approaches, workshops, programs versus when you actually did join the implementation program? Like, or maybe I should ask the question like this. When you did join the implementation program, what was that kind of missing thing that maybe those other programs weren't able to provide for you?
Some of them, like it was kind of bits and pieces. People were like, hey, well, like one coach that I worked with, she was like, okay, well, how many days has it been? Like 7. Then compared to joining the implementation program, saying the days going towards a slip or relapse doesn't matter. It's all about data. Data, like they'd kind of tie in, but there was so much weight and pressure. Like, oh gosh, it's been 2 months. Like you feel broken or down versus joining the program. Like 1 day, 2 days is not going to break you. Your journey is not going to be. It's always up and down. But as long as you're consistent with utilizing the tools, you'll be okay.
And fast forward to, like you said, around like 2025 or 2024, when you hit back up your Reboot strategist and had that conversation, what was the thing that finally pushed you over the edge and you decided to say like if I'm going to do this, like, let me do it. Like, what finally pushed you to make that jump? Yeah,
it was just, for me, it felt like such a low point. I just was not happy in my life. I was like kind of a point where I was like, before then I was like, but I'm tired of, I'm like, I was like, I can't overcome this. This is impossible. It was more of a whatever. I'm just going to ride this out the rest of my life. And I got to such a low point, and I was like, I just didn't like myself. And I was like, what? Let me give this a shot. And then the first 3 months within the program, it totally changed my perspective in mind, and just realizing just the tools are pretty simple to use. And so the hard part is just actually implementing it on a daily basis, and doing that. Like, that was the big change with what led me to joining the program.
Amazing. I love that, man. And what have been some of those tools that really kind of shifted your perspective, like you said?
Really, the big one is the morning routine. With that, at least my morning routine is doing the feelings exercise, writing down your goals, and then a small dialogue. I think one of the things, at least for me, and a lot of guys can relate to, is not being able to express what feelings and emotions, kind of leading up to a slip or relapse. And the issue itself isn't pornography or masturbation. It's what you're feeling in that moment. That simple of just acknowledging what I'm feeling in that morning, whether you're feeling happy, sad, depressed, as long as you're acknowledging how you're feeling, and giving yourself room to feel those emotions. Like, it's not a problem. Sure, you'll have some urges come up, but there's accountability and other tools in place to work you through those.
I love the way you worded that. That's so good. But I am curious about that part of your answer, making more room to truly process what's going on. But hold up, William. I thought rebooting was just about not slipping. You mean to tell me that I need to feel my feelings? What's up with that?
Yeah, that was probably the biggest shock. And it was going back to, what is the thinking? I'm like, why did this addiction feel like? I was like, why is this my burden to share? And it's like, no, this is just a coping mechanism that most guys experience growing up. It's like we used porn as an outlet because we felt scared, alone, and just didn't know any better. That was the only way to like protect ourselves. So just kind of that simple mind frame. I'm like, oh, okay, like that makes sense. And then with the months leading off to, you feel this like wave and rush of emotions coming through that you're finally allowing yourself to properly feel. And what's the word? Yeah, just allow it to give it space to finally be present and sit with it. Because there's a lot of emotions that I haven't felt growing up, and it was just kind of a weight off the shoulders. I found it and finally do that, and in order to be a healthy person.
Thank you for sharing that, first of all. And the fact that we're able to do that, and particularly also in a community of people who actually care and have been there as well. And I'm curious, what's been your experience overall when it comes to, say, the Facebook community?
When I was doing it, I needed to be more consistent with it. It was just having that support, especially like utilizing the wind walls. Like, that was a big one that I would pretty much do on a daily basis, just posting my wind walls like, hey, this is what I'm doing, and just receiving that acknowledgement, like, hey, this is part of the journey and process. Like, you're doing good. It's a lot of great support from the coaches, other guys in the program, and even just hearing what other guys are going through similar things, or maybe totally different. It's like, as a single guy coming into it, that's a different perspective from someone who's married with kids.
Absolutely.
And just seeing that. So there's a lot of different walks of life.
Yeah, a lot of perspective, a lot of points of view to draw from and take inspiration from. And that's really, really cool. And this is where you'll also find like accountability partners and people that are actually going to like having your own accountability partners. What's that been like for you?
Yeah, my accountants have been great coming into. We've been on weekly calls, at least for a little bit, just once a week when we can. If not, text each other, seeing how we're doing, checking in. And even then, it's not just about like, hey, what have you been doing? And they've come to discover is that there's other parts of your reboot as far as, on dating. Like, one of my accountability partners is single. So we're both single in this case. So just talking about dating, and it's like, hey, what are your goals for dating, other areas of your lives, different seasons, if you will, if you want to focus and prioritize. So it's following up and making sure that we're sticking with what we're going to say, what we're going to do. No one's going to make us do it, but it's that I was checking, hey, how'd the date go? How'd the approach go? How did that interview go? Example like that. So it's been great having accountability partners.
I love that. And I love the point of holding each other accountable to things more than just compulsive behaviors. Like, are you actually following through with the things that you actually want to pursue in your life? And I like the word that you use too, like seasons. Like for someone who might not have heard that concept before, because that's something that we talk about often, like, what's your relationship been like with that? With the concept of different reboot seasons or Reboot Capital even?
Yeah. So one of the primary focuses that I'm working on right now is because dating season, if you will, for the last year and a half. Dating something that I've struggled with growing up, not really knowing how to date and focus. And as someone who's in my mid-20s, that's something that we're all still trying to figure out. Even in 30s, there's no perfect time to when to settle down. But I have goals. I'd like to get married one day. If there's any rush to do it, but that's a big priority in my life, just to work through that and figure it out and be successful in dating. Another one too is fitness. I started getting in shape the last couple of years. Saw a lot of progress, especially within the program last year and a half, as far as my physical fitness goes. That's something that's really taken a priority. So those are probably the two primary areas that I'm focused on for this season.
I love that. That's super cool. What's your experience been like with the group coaching calls in the program?
If there's something that I'm thinking like in the spurt of the moment, if there's maybe something not in a module, like it's in the heat of the moment, Dr. Rankin, he actually, anytime I felt like a sense of guilt or shame come on, there is a tool that he utilized. And he said, you say out loud to yourself, if you're in a private setting, saying, stop, wait, what am I thinking? It allows the brain to stop and focus like, hey, we did whatever was in the past, focus on the present. And that short little, you're stopping your brain from the negative thoughts or reinforcement and then to focus on the current present moment. That's been a great tool from the coaching calls that I've utilized. Even with Coach Milan too, I've utilized some of his practices. One of those was trying to feel present. So with having ADD, I'll get sidetracked thinking about something else. And then whenever I catch myself drifting, I'll go into an exercise where I'll try to connect with my environment. And so I'll focus on just one area, like what am I feeling in my feet, then work my way up through the body, be present in my body, and then start focusing on the surroundings. So the coaching calls have been great with just those they're simple tools to utilize, but they've been a difference maker.
That's awesome, man. Shout out Dr. Rankin. That's awesome. So, and I definitely wanted to ask you as well, your transition from the implementation program into the intensive program, because it's one thing to go through the implementation program and having learned all that you've learned, but then to have that moment where you were, like you said, I feel like I want my accountability to be like sharper and like more locked in. Tell me about that.
The main reason was, like as you mentioned, was having a sharper level of accountability. One of the things that I appreciate is on the weekly calls with you and Orestes that y'all go into a deep dive, whatever the focus is of that week. That's something, and also too, it's a smaller group of guys, so the rooms aren't necessarily as crowded. Also too, even within the Facebook, I don't recall the exact amount of guys, but there's more room to get additional feedback on post if you have questions. Not that there's a difference, but it's probably just a little bit more focus, I would say, between then. And it's been great with you and Orestes working through it, checking with me pretty much almost on a every other weekly basis, or even if I can reach out anytime as needed. Like I know it's not going to be a problem, or I feel like I'm a burden, so to speak.
Never a burden, man. Never. I'm curious as to some of the growth that you've noticed in yourself compared to William from 2025 who first joined the implementation program. What types of growth do you notice in yourself?
I was carrying a lot of guilt and shame when I joined in the program, and still working through those, but it's nowhere near the level of what it was. And one of those that it's just like everything, it just takes time and consistency. So that's been a huge change. I've had a better self-image of myself, even to just outside of the intensive implementation. I worked in other areas with Optimum U, Coach Samish. Saw a lot of incredible, phenomenal results through there. Like it was stuff that I was like, I'll never be able to be fully energized throughout the day. Just working on diet and fitness. I got into probably the best shape of my 20s last year.
Sick.
So far. So that was awesome. And then dating too, saw a lot of forcing myself to be put in uncomfortable situations, meaning not that it's anything bad, meaning that like, hey, go up and cold approach and go out and mingle with people. Mm-hmm. It's uncomfortable because like not too many people do it nowadays, but just areas like that, it's like, like, hey, if you want to succeed, you have to do the things they're going to put you outside of your comfort zone. So areas that have challenged me, I've seen a lot of growth in.
That's so encouraging. Like for real. That's how does it feel to say that straight up?
That was great. Yeah, it's been a big change. There's been a lot of change in my life too, as far as just moving around in different environments, but just being able to like fully find a place. I'm like, oh, okay, I can come here and get my questions answered.
Absolutely. That's so cool, man. I really appreciate you sharing and everything. I'm so inspired right now. I'm like hyped up. But I'm curious, there's a question that I typically ask on calls like this, and I'm curious to get your take. Where basically, having learned and having grown in the ways that you have, if you had the opportunity to speak to somebody who might still be in that pre-2025 William kind of state where they're still kind of carrying around that guilt and shame and on the fence as far as like what to do, what the next move is, kind of suffering in silence in the way that you and I know about very well. Having learned what you've learned and, like I said, experience what you've experienced up until this point, what might you share with a person like that?
I would say that it's like you're on the right path. It's like that's something that's clearly not right and wrong, and like you're smart enough to realize that, even if not myself, just anybody. And whether that's with, as long as you're willing to go out and seek help, everything's going to be okay. It's like the hardest part is just making the first step and not being sure, because it is scary. Like with whatever you want to move forward in, like there is a level of risk that you are taking with yourself and being wanting and willing to be vulnerable with people. And it's like, it's not easy, but it's necessary if you want to move forward. So it's like, whatever path you choose to go down, if you want to start your road to recovery, like the first steps with you. So it's like, just reach out, whether it's a recovery, other program, just do something to get moving. At the end of the day, we all want the same thing, and that's to be successful and overcome our addiction. So just keep moving. You have the right idea. Just take the first step.
I love that, man. And sort of a follow-up question. You sort of alluded to it, but would you then in turn recommend this program?
Absolutely. I wish I would have done it way sooner. When I reached out, I was 21, 22. I wish I would have done it then. Like it would have saved myself more pain and heartache a couple years, but
here you are.
But everything works out for a reason. So I only wish that I would have started, and that it's been phenomenal.
Really can't say it better than that, man. William, thank you so much for sharing your insight and your story. And I really, really appreciate your openness and your growth. And again, your willingness to share, because I know for a fact that there is, if this makes it to the YouTube channel or podcast, if someone stumbles onto this conversation, they clearly have some sort of history when it comes to compulsive behaviors. And sometimes the most powerful thing that you can share is your testimony beyond any scholarly advice or whatever. Like sometimes they just need to know that they're not alone. And I really appreciate you contributing to the conversation. Before we go on that note, before we close it out, to someone who might be listening, like that person, any final words before we bounce?
Doing your research, you're not going to regret joining this program. I know the first 2 weeks whenever I did, I was like, yeah, I immediately knew. I was like, this was the best investment I've ever made. So it's been a difference maker in my life. I mean, I know we always go through like, what is elevated recovery? What is this? We all go through the same jumps and hoops to verify. Like it's well been worth it. I would pay double the results. So it's been great.
You really can't get higher praise than that. I'm so moved. That's sick, dude. That's really, really awesome. William, thank you so much again, and all the continued best to you.
I'm JK, your brother in this struggle. Thank you so much for listening to this episode of the Porn Reboot podcast. I'll speak to you later on in the week. If you found this episode helpful, here are 4 ways I can help you with your out-of-control sexual behavior for free. The first way is to grab a free copy of my book, Confessions of a Porn Addict, 7 Secrets of Porn-Free Men at elevatedrecovery.org, or visit the link in the description below this episode. The second way is, if you're not sure where to start, but you'd like to learn more about my team and I, if you'd like to spend time with like-minded professionals and business owners who are controlling their behavior, then join our free and confidential group, the Porn Reboot group on Facebook. There's a link to join in the description below this episode. The third way way is if you need help right now because you have a burning issue, your behavior with pornography is hurting you mentally or emotionally, you're about to lose your relationship, you want to live up to your potential, be an authentic man, and free yourself from shame, guilt, and underachieving, then click on the link in the description below this episode that says free coaching call. And the fourth way is to leave us a 5-star review if you enjoy this podcast, so that we can reach more men who are struggling in silence and bring back the lessons we learn from coaching them to freedom.